All right, so you would like to make well, you don't have to worry because I'm gonna take you through every single step of making an animation like this. Worry not. I am here to save the day. Okay, first of all, we're gonna open up new Blender. I don't know if you have your file set up, but you should have a default cube in it. Just something like that, at least. And you can go ahead and delete that. Now, we are gonna abandon Blender because you don't need Blender first and foremost. You are not that good. I know that. You know that. And I know that you know that. Okay? So we're gonna go to Pinterest and we are gonna go look at some references of a product like that. So you're gonna put in lamp. Mind blowing. Boom. You have a lamp that you like, right? But this is not the lamp that you want to make. You want to make something like that, but it's going to be similar. Not the same though. So you're going to go through a lot of stuff in here. You're going to open up PureRef, as I did. And you're going to go hover your mouse over PureRef and you're going to press Ctrl, Shift, and A, which is going to enable, top embedding. And then you're going to place this in the corner, somewhere here. Yes, just like that. I would place it on the right side, but you wouldn't see over my head. And now, as you can see, if I scroll down through Pinterest, I always have my menu here. And I can only do this. Boom, dropped in. Okay, this doesn't work. The first image that should work didn't. Okay. Okay, we're gonna try this. Yes, this one works. It usually works, okay? If it doesn't, I don't know which one was it. Which one did I put in? I don't know. You can click it and usually this one works. Okay? And I actually recommend, clicking on the image because this one is bigger than the one that you view here. So the image quality and the size of the image is probably going to be bigger. Okay, not in this case. Nothing works today, okay, apparently, like it's supposed to. But you can put in as many lamps in here as possible, because sometimes Pinterest, you don't want this. What's this? You don't want that. But you want this probably because you like, I don't know, the stand or something like that, or any particular part of the lamp. So you can go ahead and use this technique to put in references that you're going to be using to make your lamp. Okay. Then you're going to press Ctrl Shift plus A to disable the always on top. Then Ctrl plus F to put it on the whole monitor. Sorry. I have wide monitor, so I have to do this manually, like so. And then you're gonna select all the images and press Ctrl Alt and left cursor to put them to make them the same size, and then Ctrl plus P to put them, in order, and then Ctrl and left click, right click, you know, to sort them. Control and arrows to sort them however you like. If you have more of them, if you have like, I don't know, 50 of them, you can sort these, you know, like this, for example. You know, and you have them in line, and it's not all disorganized. But from this point, you click Control plus D, which means that you are enabling the draw mode. And you're gonna be like, okay, I like this. And I like this. And I like this, for example, okay? I don't know. And you like the disc here, right? And then you're gonna create your own little lamp. That you would like to be making today, right? For me, it's this one, the one you saw in the video. And today we're gonna actually handle the modeling part of the lamp. Yeah, so from this point on, you're gonna have a bunch of references to look at to make any particular details of the lamp. Right here, I like that this lamp has a smaller disc that's actually, you know, projecting light on top of a bigger disc, which is reflecting the light back to the place or somewhere, you know. And I'm gonna have that in some shape like that with a little twist at the end. You know, it's gonna look like this for me. And actually, I think it's gonna look like this all the way around. Yeah, I like this. I like this. This is gonna be my lamp shape, you know? And there's gonna be light emitting from here, and the light's gonna be emitting all the way here, and it's gonna be, you know, redirected and bounced back into the space. This looks like a jellyfish or something like that, or maybe a UFO. Okay. And we are gonna connect this through a joint here. There's gonna be a joint, a stand, and a plate. And this whole thing is gonna be movable by there's gonna be a something like this, right? Yeah, something like that. It's gonna look something like this. It looks like a plant or something at this point. But don't worry. It's gonna look awesome when we are done with it. You gotta trust the process, but you take a little, you know, stuff from lamps, from references, and you use the references to actually make the lamp. I don't have the references because I made the lamp 2 years ago, but I didn't start animating it for like a year. Yeah. So anyways, when we have this, you can go back to Blender and you can actually either draw the dimensions or you can do it by eye. I'm gonna create this out of thin air because I feel like it. At first, we're gonna place in a cylinder, which we're actually gonna slide. And it's gonna have a thickness of 0.2 meters, 0.02 meters, ergo 2 centimeters. And we are gonna actually scale it so that it isn't 2 meters across, but something like, I don't know, 0.7, 0.69. I like that. And we're gonna apply scale. Now, because we're gonna work procedurally and, you know, with modifiers, we're gonna shade it auto smooth. So right click and click auto smooth. And we are gonna add in a bevel, which is actually gonna be 0.005. That's too much. So maybe like 0.3. Also too much. So 0.2. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. And we're gonna add more of these. On top of that, we're gonna add in... Actually, no. I'm sorry. Let me go back. I forgot. Okay, so from this point on, we're gonna select the top and the bottom part, and we're gonna... Actually, you know what? I have screencast keys. Of course I do, right? Yes. Haha. Boom, there you go. You can see. Can you see? Yes, you will see it now. Yes, you can see perfectly. Nice. I love that. Actually, I can scooch this in a little bit more. Yes, I love it. Okay, so from this point on, we have screencast keys enabled, so you can see what I'm doing. You can press I to inset these faces, and you can also press Control R to make a loop around here, you know? From this point on, you put in subdivision surface. Actually, you're gonna select both of these loops by shift selecting with Alt, and then you're gonna press Control plus B to bevel it, and you're gonna scroll your middle mouse wheel. Then you're gonna scroll. Then you're gonna scroll your English broken. Please, come on. Okay, then you're gonna scroll your mouse wheel until you have about 3 or 4 of these bad boys, right? Perfect. And I think that should be it for the beveling part. Actually, if we enable wireframe mode, you can see that there is I don't know what it's called, but let's call it flowering, right? Because it looks like a flower. There is some flowering happening here because you have 2 faces that have, you know, 0 another face. It's an angle basically. It's a circle. And when you have subdivision, the subdivision will do a weird thing with the shading here. If we put on a matcap, where it looks like it is bowing a little bit, right? But if you were to select both faces and then press I again, and then inset the face, then the shading should be fine. I find this a little bit better in some instances. You know, you don't have to do this. I do this because I feel like it's better when we are gonna add in some materials and stuff later on. You know, some of the stuff in Blender, when it's not completely flat and it doesn't have enough edges, when you have smooth by angle or smooth, it seems like there is a little bow, you know, when it comes to shading. So we're gonna put in studio mode again, or studio viewport. And this is gonna be our stand, basically. This is gonna be the base that it's gonna stand on. Okay? Are we on? Everybody happy? Good. From this point on, we will press numpad 1 or 1 on the numpad, and we are gonna extrude another cylinder, but this time with only, let's say, 12 vertices. Yes. You're gonna go into edit mode by pressing tab, and you're gonna scale it on this both axes, X and Y, by pressing Shift and Z, which is gonna exclude the Z axis, right? And you're gonna scale it all the way there. Then you're gonna press 1, so you have the selection mode on the vertices. You're gonna put in X-ray mode, and you're gonna make this 0. Or if you want, you can put it on top of this, but I wouldn't recommend. Actually, I would recommend having it here, which is better, and extruding this downward, because it's going to help with the bevel. You know, nothing in the real world is completely like straight when it comes to joint faces. It either goes, you know, in and you have a little bevel underneath, or it goes in and you have the bevel here. You know, it has to connect somehow. And this is not a welded face or you know, brushed face. This is just two faces that are stuck together by some form of, you know, either friction or there is a screw underneath. I don't know. But now we have this problem with the shading, as you can see, and we can fix it by selecting the edge. You know, you go into the edge selection mode in edit mode, you press Alt, you click on the edge, and you press Ctrl+B. And here you can do the same. We have a lot of faces here, but I wouldn't care about that because, you know, my computer can handle it. You can avoid it by either putting a loop in here, you know, on top of these, and you know, just scaling it, you know, inwards. That can be done, but I don't care. I can have this. It doesn't bother me. With this one, what we can do, it's actually pretty thick, so we can select it, select it, press Control, or actually S and Shift Z, and scale it a little bit more, something like this. Yeah, I think this looks okay. And then when we have the faces here selected, you can press Control and plus 3 times or 4 times. And then again, Shift Z, and then scale it inwards like that. Actually, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, whatever. We can scale this a little bit out. And I think this is fine. Shade auto smooth. Put 45 degrees here, and that's fine for now. Okay. I think this is good for a base and a stand. Now we're gonna create the rest of it. But first I'm gonna put on subdivisions with a couple of loop cuts. Control plus R for the loop cut. You click in the middle, then Control B, then you scale it all the way to the top. You know, you can scale it on the Z axis, and then you can insert this face as well as the down face. You don't have to do this step. I just want to have a little bit more smoothness. And I'm actually gonna create another bevel here at the top. And again, you don't have to do this step. You can leave it as is. You know, you can put in 12 or even 20, you know, loop cuts from the beginning when you're creating this, so you don't have these artifacts. And you can have it like that. But I didn't like, you know, that it looks like this, basically. So I'm gonna put in subdivision. From this point on, we are missing the... Where is my lamp? We have the stand, right? We have the base. Now, we're probably gonna forget the knob here, the knee or the joint. We're gonna create the whole mushroom thing, okay? This thing. And the way we are going to create it is simple. It's going to be another cylinder that is going to be scaled down or up, you know. That's it. Always remember to work in edit mode when you are scaling something like this, or when you are working in object mode and you scale something, you have to apply the transform. All right, you have to apply it by pressing Control and A, and then apply scale. So this number is always 1. I cannot stress this enough. This is important for later when you are going to be adding any subdivisions, any bevels, any materials, anything basically in Blender. You have to have a uniform scale of 1. Because if you don't, the stuff that you expect to work a certain way is not going to work. It's going to be broken. It's not going to do what you want. So always apply scale, or better, work in edit mode only. So, okay. We have the cylinder here, and we want to make it a shroom. How are we going to make this? I'm probably I'm probably gonna scale this. Oh yeah, I have transform on 3D cursor, so I'm gonna put it into median. I'm gonna place this in the middle. Sorry, I'm gonna press 1, so see it from the side. And I'm gonna scale this all the way down. Now, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna slide this upwards. And I'm gonna extrude this and scale this. That's too much, right? I'm scaling it with Shift Z to scale it on X and Y. Okay. Scale this a little bit inwards, and actually I think I'm gonna scale this like so. And if I turn on face orientation, I can see that this is red. But worry not, because we are gonna fix it later. Now I extrude this, I press escape, and I scale it. Then I'm gonna press extrude again, and I'm gonna extrude it downwards. And that way I have this form, shape, okay? I scale this with Shift Z again. I'm gonna slide it, not across, but on the Z axis. Now, what I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna delete this. Yes. Delete this portion. I'm gonna take this portion. I'm gonna extrude this to this place, probably. Actually, no. Here. I'm gonna extrude it again. Scale it again. Extrude it again. Scale it again. Extrude it again upwards. Scale it again. And then extrude it one last time. Now I'm gonna select the edges with by either pressing 2 on the numpad or clicking this icon and scaling it on X and Y axis. And what I'm gonna do with this is make some, not final touches, but make a rough shape of, you know, the thing that I drew here. I won't want it to be this way, going up, then that way, and that way, and going that way, you know? So that I have this, like, a cup inside of the cup, and the cups are connected somehow. And in this cup, I have a light source, which is emitting light on the white surface here, and, you know, then bouncing outward. So, okay, you can see I have the rough shape here. What's this? Okay, I don't want this. Okay, cool. I'm gonna press 3 in this edit mode, Alt, and then this. Okay, and then I'm gonna scale it on X and Y axis, just like so. Then 2 for edge selection, and again, I'm gonna scale this and slide this someplace, right? Right now, I'm gonna put on subdivision surface, and you can see it is finally taking the shape I really want it. You know, it's taking on the shape I want it. And in subdivision, we press shade smooth, and in edit mode, we actually, scale this a little bit more to fine tune the shape that we really want. We use these couple of edges here to really change the shape to what we really want. Because if you have more edges and more shapes, it's going to be much harder to actually shape it, to a default shape that you want, if it makes any sense. In some places, for someone who's, much more experienced, it's better to have the geometry, okay? But for something simple like this, you don't have to have it. Like, for example, I just edit this loop cut, right? But I wanted it because if I didn't have it, this portion would be just flat. And I don't want that. I want it to be a little bit curved, but I didn't want the edge to be like this. I don't think I like this, It looks good, but not for my purposes. I want it to be like this. I wanted this portion to be narrow, to be straight, and to be wide, actually. So that's why I did that. And from this point on, we just, select some of these, slide them, scale them, you do whatever you want. A world is your oyster. There are no accidents, as Bob Ross would say. There are no mistakes. Sorry. There are no mistakes. There are only happy accidents. And that's actually why or how I came up with this design. So, by having this, we can put in solidify. And we are going to put in, I don't know, 0.002, something like that, with even thickness. And we are actually going to put it on top of this, So you have solidify and then subdivision. And I'm gonna crank up my subdivision all the way to 3. So we have more geometry here. Because you can see here, these, I don't like that. And my computer can handle it, so I don't care about that much. I like it this way. Okay. I think we are done with the shroom, or with the top of the lamp. So now we can actually start making the bulk, the big piece. I don't know how you say it, or what's it called. Is it the counterweight? Yes, I think it is. From this point on, we can finally start making the counterweight and the arm that's going to be, used for switching on and off the lamp and actually, rotating it on the joint that's going to be here. So we are done with the bulk here. Actually, no. I have to put this here. Yes, now we are done. So when you are done sliding stuff around here so that you like it, I actually took a creative liberty and then, slit this a bit, down and make it a little bit thicker because I didn't like the thickness of it. So I changed it a little bit. Once you do that, okay, once you like the shape, once you like how it looks from all the sides, you know, all the dimensions, we can actually make the joint, make the arm, and make the counterweight with a little button on top. And that's what we are gonna do right now. So take this, take this, press Shift and D, and duplicate it, and click somewhere. Now, slide this somewhere you like it. I'm actually gonna put it somewhere here, yeah. And I'm gonna slide these a bit more to the top, you know, so that this is gonna be the size of my arm. I'm gonna put it right here, actually. So once you have this, you have to align this and this together, right? Because this is where the magic happens. This is gonna be paired to this, and this is gonna be on the joint, moving like that, okay? I mean, moving from here, like that, you know? So the lamp is gonna be a little bit off symmetry, you know, off balance. I'm actually gonna slide this a bit more down here. Yes, because we're gonna create the joint here in this point. And these two things have to be aligned together, so we put them on the same spot. Just like so. Right now we have to create the joint, which is nothing, you know, complicated. You click either on the top face here. You have to have, you know, a center of this thing, of this whole rod, of this whole thing, of this whole stick, of this whole arm or stand, whatever you can call it, whatever. And when you click Shift and S, this little menu will pop out, and you have to slide your mouse down to put the cursor, 3D cursor, to selection. Click. Okay. Now you go to object mode and you put in another cylinder. Okay. This episode is going to be all about cylinders. And in edit mode, just scale it, rotate it on its axis. Okay. Put it here. Scale it on Z and X axes, just like so. Okay. I think that's good. Maybe a little bit more this way. Yes. And now we're gonna take this, we're gonna delete these faces. We're gonna fill in these faces. You know, you're gonna select it with Alt again. Press F to fill in the face. F as in fill the face, okay? And you are left with this. Now, we're gonna create a loop with Control plus L, R, Control R, yes. We're gonna Control B, bevel it. Basically, it's not beveling it, but you get the memo. And we are gonna extrude these faces. With Control, you can click, you know, and select all these faces, it's gonna create the path of least resistance, I think, if you press Control. So you press here, now Shift to select another, okay? And from the active, you again press Control, and it's gonna create a path of the least resistance. And you just extrude it, you know, downwards. Just like so. Now you're gonna take these faces and you're gonna scale them. You're gonna scale them like so. And you're actually gonna take these 4 vertices as well, and you're gonna scale it all together. And you're gonna scale it outwards a little bit, just like so. From this point on, you're just gonna slide some stuff around, you know, scale this a little bit, and then put on a subdivision. And you're gonna put in a little bit more loop cuts in. But for some reason, this doesn't work here. Oh yeah, it doesn't work because we don't have loops. Okay, so you're gonna, actually, let me do it like this so you can actually see. Okay, as you could see, I just created some loop cuts here, okay, which we're gonna connect to this with pressing J. You know, you press these 2 vertices, you select them, and you press J, and that will join them. And now we can actually have a loop cut, you know, finished loop cut. We press Shade Smooth, and we are gonna be creating more loop cuts here. And here. We're gonna inset the faces so that it sits like that. And this is the joint, basically. It doesn't have to be anything fancier than this. I think this looks good. And so should you. Okay, we're gonna scale it on the z-axis to 0. You know, we're gonna flatten it out, because if some vertices are not in the same level or on the same level, if they are not on the same level, you can scale them all to 0 and they're gonna be on the same level. And then you can, you know, slide the level up and down however you like it. I think this is okay. Now we're gonna slide this here, probably. We could do that, definitely. We could scale it like so we can have a little bit more sharper corners. Or what we can do is that we can select all of these with Alt and Shift, and then put in something like, oh no, actually no. Ah, damn it. I would have to redo the thing. So, okay, we'll leave it like this, okay? It's gonna be fine. This is gonna be just smooth. This is not gonna be, you know, round corner. I mean, this is gonna be round corners. This is not gonna be sharp corners. If we had this geometry and sharp corners, I would have to redo this topology. I'm gonna show you real quick, but Actually, how would I do that? I would probably do something like this. And this. No. I would probably do this and this. You know, getting rid of these so that I have, you know, quads here on this side. And you see, it selects the whole loop. And if I did the whole, I mean, the same thing here on the whole thing, I would be able to select the whole loop cut here and then put in the main crease, and the crease would be, you know, nice. It wouldn't have the same stuff as before, you know, as with this one, where we had this artifact here in this point. But we don't care. This is going to be round. Whatever. Who can stop me? So we're going to slide this a little bit on the z-axis so that it looks like it's supposed to be that way. And we're going to put it roughly in the middle of these two. I like it. This probably doesn't make sense. It probably doesn't make any sense, but I'm going to leave it like that because nobody's going to be paying attention to this. Maybe somebody is, but I don't care. I don't care. Okay. Yeah, that's done. Okay, now this place is going to be a place for the button, the on button, you know? So we're going to scale this a little bit. We're going to extrude it downwards. And with X-ray mode, we're going to bevel this like so. And we're going to create a couple of more loop cuts here. Can I have something like 70, 80? Why is this not working? Okay, 80. Perfect. Yeah. I have 2 levels of subdivision here. Yeah, and this is going to be a perfect place for the button. We're going to slide this down a little bit because we need the button to be able to, you know, slide down a lot as you are pressing it with your finger. So this is going to be the place for the button. And on top of that, we are going to take this. Okay, we're going to Shift D, duplicate it, plus press Escape, press P to separate this thing. Go to, you know, object mode, then back into edit mode, press F to fill it with, fill the face, okay? Then E as an extrude. And we're going to check the face orientation, which is good. Blue means good, red means bad. But I mean, it doesn't mean bad. It just means that you are inside of something, okay? So in this instance, blue means good because we are gonna be looking at the outside layer, basically. The normals are gonna be good if it's blue, okay? By the way, with what is it? Is it a comma? Yes, comma on, if you have a keyboard, a comma on the numpad is gonna zoom in or zoom out on the whole object, basically. Okay, no matter how small or big it is. Boom. Instantly. You don't have to do the whole thing, you know, just scrolling in or out. You just press this, and you know, your gizmo gets placed, I think, in the center of the mass. I think, I'm not sure, but doesn't matter. Okay, so now we have the subdivision. We're gonna smooth it out, but we're also gonna put in more loops here, just like so. And we're also gonna put in or inset these two faces, just like so. You know, we like that. This is good. I think this is just fine. Maybe we can push this a little bit. Just a little bit, you know, so it's not on top of it. Now the face orientation is checked. The button is done. The joint is done. The arm is done. And the only thing that is left to do is the counterweight. Because this is a big disc or the big shroom, you know. You need to have something, you know, to counter the weight. Because if you would just slide this like so, it would just do bam. You don't want that. You want a certain counterweight here at the bottom of this thing to be balancing it all out. And because we want the counterweight from this side to be, you know, here, it needs to be indented the same way the joint is. So Shift S, slide down, which places the 3D cursor here. Another cylinder. We scale this down. We rotate it. We can rotate it in edit mode as well. That way. Maybe that way. I don't know. No. No. That way. Okay. We scale it. And this is probably a little bit too big. Actually, maybe no. I just slide it up somewhere here. Yes. So we are probably gonna slide this up as well. Or actually, no. We're gonna leave it like that for now. But this thing is gonna have to have a loop cut here, a bevel there. Now, we are gonna select these faces with control, you know, or you know, clicking here, then control clicking here. And actually, yeah, we're gonna, oh, damn. We're gonna delete these faces. And right here, we're gonna click on these, F to fill it, you know, and then F and F and F and F again. And we're gonna connect these or join these. I think that is the best way to do it. We create some loop cuts here, subdivision, and we inset the faces here. Right? That looks okay to me. I think this looks fine. We can probably slide this into, no. We can probably create a loop cut here, which will allow us to push this in and out as we want. Actually, no, I cannot push this the way I like. But I like this. I like this, yes. 45, no, actually, we want smooth shading here. Yes. Yes. Yes, yes. This is going to be half embedded in it. And yeah. Yeah. I think I like this. Maybe we can... Yeah, I think I can do this. Okay, Shift, Alt, and select this. Control B to bevel that. Shift to, you know, fine tune this. If you press down Shift as you are beveling, if you Control B, this is quite a big increment. But if you press Shift, it's going to be a bit subtle, bit more subtle, you know. And I like this. Do I like that? What is happening here? Actually, I don't care. I like it like that. That's all I care about. Boom. The lamp. I present to you the lamp. Actually, there. The lamp. The lamp. Okay. So, when we have this, we can continue by checking, you know, double checking that everything has 1. The value of 1 on the scale. If it does, we can go to the next step, which is materials and shading, you know. But we will get to that in the next video. In the meantime, if you would like to, you can subscribe to my channel to not miss any further updates on this. Anyways, have a great night, have a great day, have a great whatever the part of the day you are experiencing, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.